This is the Four-Man Rush. Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to another podcast of the Four-Man Rush. I'm your host, Timmy V.O., and welcome to episode number 50. That's right, 50, 10 times 5, and you got 50 of them podcasts. Wow. That's right, folks. 50th podcast of the Four-Man Rush, and it's been fun. And just so happens, God almighty, the 50th episode is the episode where we talk about the departure of one Cam Newton. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? But that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So, obviously, we're going to talk about Cam hitting the free agency. We already got some news about him possibly going to two teams. Well, they want to see his records, his medical records, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the player movement in free agency, which started yesterday. We got 3 players on the roster. We'll talk about that real quick. And we also have the G.O.A.T, also known as the GOAT, one Tom Brady, in the NFC South Division now. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Thomas Brady is playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks, ladies and gentlemen. He has left the cold and went down south to old Tampa Bay. Why he went to the Bucks, I do not know. I'm trying to understand that myself. Tom Brady to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Does it have something to do with his initials? I don't know. But Tom's down there, so he's going to have to face us twice this year. Yay. But yeah, we're going to talk about all those things on the best podcast for the Carolina Panthers. I don't care what you say. Yeah, I said it. Tell your mama. And let's get into it, fellas. I'm here with Kevin and Will, and we're going to talk about these player movements first. The free agency hit yesterday, and we got some guys on our squad, and hope they're going to help out Coach Rule in this defense. So, Will Harris, tell us a little bit more about these young players that we got up on our roster, man.
Yeah, I think I need to preface this by saying when Matt Rule was hired, one thing that he said was that he's going to look to evaluate players based on traits, not specific positions. So he wants to look at guys he wants a DN to be a certain way, his linebacker to look a certain way, his safety to be a certain way. So those are the kinds of players that he's going to try to bring and fill out this roster. That combined with dollars in dead cap that the Panthers have this year, you're just going to get those, bargain free agents that have traits that Matt Rule is used to signing. Keep in mind, he's from Baylor and Temple. He didn't get the blue chip 5-star guys in college. He had to take athletes, the long, fast, and agile, and try to develop them into becoming good football players. So I think the classic example of that is the first guy that made this free agency season, which was Stephen Weatherly, defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings. He went to Vanderbilt, very smart guy. He didn't get a lot of starting reps because Minnesota has a loaded defensive line. Their edge rushers are 2 elite players, Everson Griffin and Daniil Hunter. So he was just more of a rotational player with those guys. But he was pretty productive in the few reps he did get. Vikings fans really like him and thought he had a lot of potential. And he's got an elite athletic profile. He runs a 4.6 40. He's long, fast, athletic. And, he's similar in size to the guy we have, Brian Burns. So I think he could be a good addition to the defensive line rotation with Burns, Christian Miller, who's also in that similar mold, Marquise Haynes. And now we got Weatherly to add to that rotation. So I'm excited about what we're going to have at that defensive end position. We also signed Justin Burris, the safety from the Cleveland Browns. He's kind of a hybrid safety and nickel corner type. He got a lot of reps last year. I think, again, he'll be a good weapon to use on that back end of the defense. We lack depth in the secondary right now, so a guy that can play both positions will be a plus. And he'll have a chance to complete with reps with Trey Boston, who we also just re-signed to a 3-year deal. And it'll give us flexibility to maybe move Eric Reed to linebacker, which may be a better fit for him at this stage in his career. So between Weatherly, Burris, and Trey Boston, we're starting to fill out this roster a little bit. And I think, I'm excited to see what these guys can do and how they'll fit into Phil Snow's system. Now, we also signed Bridgewater, but we'll get to that a little bit later because that's more of a splash signing that we weren't expecting. But with those three guys, I think it's a good start to free agency, adding depth with guys with solid traits that can fit into this scheme.
Good deal. Gavin, how you feel about these guys coming on board, man?
Well, I'll be honest. I had the who face, like who are these guys? Let me go to Google real quick. I'll be right back. That was my initial feeling, because he was none of the guys that we had discussed on previous episodes as potential free agent targets. But then again, as Will so greatly stated, with the dead cap situation, we knew that we was going to be targeting guys that likely nobody had heard. And even with our own, expansive knowledge that we possess, this was definitely a scramble on Google search to find out about these guys. But I think that we're just adding pieces to the roster. Slowly assembling the best 90 men that we can take to Camp Wofford, which we will be going again. Because we did secure that deal. So yeah, we'll be heading back there. Just from, what the information I was able to look up, I know Will covered a lot of the basics on both players, but, in a limited role, based on snap count, with the Weatherly here, one thing that kind of, jumped off the screen to me was, on just 297 pass rush snaps, he was able to get 29 total pressures. 6 hits, 19 hurries, and 4 sacks. So even in a limited role, playing behind two, elite, players, he was able to come in and make sure that he kept the heat on the quarterback. So, based on the idea that Matt Rule and Snow like these athletic players, with the sports science that they brought in, let's see if this may be some sort of gem in the rough. I'm not going to say diamond, because I don't want to try to, sell a lot of hoopla here. But obviously, they saw things. They saw something with their research that made them feel like that. Yeah, this is someone that we can use. And when you paid, the type of money that was paid, obviously they seem to like Weatherly a lot. I saw where several Panther fans were like, who, what, why? We want the players from Nordstrom and the players, from Macy's, and we back at the Dollar General, with this one. Dollar General, Family Dollar. I think they even went to Groupon to pick up, some deals as well. So, but overall, I like the move. And then with what's his Justin
Burris?
Yeah, Justin Burris. He offers that position flexibility that we started hearing a lot from Rivera in the last 2 years. He's a guy that can play both safety spots, and he can play in the nickel as well. So again, someone that shows some flexibility to be lined up anywhere on the field. And I think that's something that we can enjoy. Something we can enjoy watching Rule and Snow put together. Obviously, when people see that he's with the Cleveland Browns, oh, he must be trash. He must not be no good. But I just think that with the research that they did, and they had far more access to information than any of us fans could ever have. I just think that these signings are low key signings that are like low risk and could grant us a decent reward. And when I looked at Justin Burris, what I kind of stumbled across here was pretty solid numbers. Now, mind you, when you mentioned Pro Football Focus, you had to do it with a grain of salt. Let's call it for what it is. But one thing about it, they seem to grade all the players in the same way. There seem to be no favoring. So according to Pro Football Focus, with Justin Burris, they got him overall at a 69.5 and got him graded at 72.8 run defense. And believe it or not, they got pass rushing 76.3. So that lets me know he can play the run and he can get out to the quarterback. His coverage was a 61.5 last year, again in a rotational role. But basically when he was targeted, the passer rating allowed was only 97.9. So, just something to see what can be maximized here. Now he didn't have exactly the greatest athletic profile. We keep it real here. We don't try to sugarcoat nothing. But obviously, something about him. I'm thinking his position flexibility, playing multiple positions, that what made him appealing. So I think both moves are really going to be good, and can't really say much else about the third move with Trey Boston. Mr. Hit or Miss. That's what I like to call him.
That's a good
So
one.
when he hits you good, but when he misses bad. It's like, watching him tackle is like, Usher, you got it bad, bro. But I'm glad Trey's back. I'm glad he finally got some serious money in his pocket, which what he's been after all along for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He's definitely a leader. He's definitely someone that can make plays on the ball. So just glad to see him finally secure the bag that he's been after for the last 3 seasons since we originally released him back in after the 2016 season. Yeah. So overall, I think all of these are good, solid, low-key moves to move forward with this rebuild process.
Good stuff, fellas. Good stuff. I can't wait to see this defensive coordinator put this defense together, man. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Like you guys mentioned, let's see what they do with these athletes. That will make me feel better. Offense, I'm not too worried about. And of course we brought on one Teddy Bridgewater. So, I mean, it was, if you don't know anything about Teddy Bridgewater, you haven't been watching football very long. That's for sure. Even with the Saints last year, he put up some really good numbers. Basically. So, you guys want to touch? I mean, Will, I know you had a pretty good understanding of Teddy Bridgewater in terms of what he did in Florida and all that before he actually got to the NFL. You wanna touch on that for the listeners?
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is a pretty big deal in Miami-Dade County. I know I'm from Charlotte too. We don't really hear about what goes on in other cities and their high school programs and their youth programs. When I first moved here in 2006, Teddy Bridgewater is a pretty big deal here. You ask guys who's the best quarterback ever to come out of Miami-Dade. They'll get some local guys that never really made it. Everybody has their favorites, but the name you'll always hear at the top of that list is Teddy Bridgewater. I saw him play as a sophomore in high school. He was in the regional semifinals at Miami Northwestern High School. They have a special series called Year of the Bull you might want to check out. But he was playing, his receiver was Amari Cooper, actually, wide receiver for the Cowboys. But Teddy was a sophomore. He was leading Miami Northwestern. He was one of their best players. He had a very good high school career. He got recruited by Louisville, where he also had a great career and was a first-round pick. So, I'm very familiar with him. I've been following him since he was a sophomore in high school. We have conversations down here all the time about who are the best quarterbacks to come out of this area, and he's probably sitting at the top. That's the best quarterback to come out of this city. He's from Liberty City, a hard part of Miami. He's always in the area handing out school supplies to kids. He still goes to high school games at Traz Powell Stadium, which is like the mecca of football, which they like to call it, where they would play their rival Miami Central, who has another school, produces great talent. So, Teddy Bridgewater, he's a pretty big deal down here. So when I talk about him, I'll get that out there because I might be a little biased when I talk about him. But he went to the Vikings. He was drafted, I think, in either 2013, 2014 range. And, he got off to a pretty decent start in his career. He was just takes care of the ball. He's accurate, good decision maker, smart. And he just had a tragic injury, a freak accident in training camp where he injured his knee, and it was questionable about whether he would ever be able to play football again. And it was miraculous how he was able to bounce back and, get an opportunity with the Jets. I think he was cut by them, and then the Saints picked him up. And finally, when Drew Brees went down, he got to start 5 games, and we saw what he was able to do. They went 5-0. He just gets the ball to his weapons, lets them do their thing. And now he's, signed a big contract, 3 years, $63 million with the Carolina Panthers. You just look at his come up, all he's been through, the adversity, just tough-minded, very good locker room guy. And I think he'll be an asset to both the Panthers and the Charlotte community. I think what brought him here was Joe Brady. I think what's fascinating to me is people were so excited about Joe Brady, bringing him on board, and what he'll be able to do with this offense. But now had Joe Brady went and got his quarterback, they don't like his selection. How can you, be excited about an offensive coordinator when you're going to complain about him adding the guys that he wants to run his offense? It's going to be similar to the New Orleans Saints offense. You're going to have a balanced attack, quick passes. Look at Michael Thomas. He's money routes that speed out. It's just simple reads. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is a perfect fit for what Joe Brady wants to do. And then just look at the contract we got him at. We have a starting quarterback locked up for 3 years at $20 million. So you can either be a bridge quarterback, till we want to sign somebody in the draft this year or next year, or maybe you go the San Francisco 49ers route where you have a quarterback at a cost-controlled contract that allows you to spend that money elsewhere and build a talented team around him. So I just think he gives the team flexibility in how they want to proceed moving forward. If you think about the NFC, the last 3 years, look at who the quarterbacks of the NFC champions were. You had Jared Goff from the Rams, you had Nick Foles for the Eagles, and you had oh my God, went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Garoppolo.
Last year. Garoppolo, for the 49ers. Yeah. So these aren't elite quarterbacks. They manage the game, take care of the football, manageable contracts, and their teams just drafted well and built great teams around them to allow them to succeed. Mm-hmm. So I think the plan A should be to just see what we can do with Teddy Bridgewater in this window, add talent around him, re-sign CMC, lock up DJ, maybe lock up Curtis, and just let him see what he can do. And if worst case scenario, if he doesn't work out next year, you have the 2021 draft to where you can maybe add a quarterback to transition into that new era. But, I'm excited about about bringing him on. I think what fans need to remember, it's not his fault that Cam is leaving. He's not in the negotiating room determining extensions. Wasn't his decision to trade Cam. It's not his decision to release Cam. He's just, a hard-working quarterback that's finally getting an opportunity to earn a starting role with this team. So he's our quarterback now. That's your new quarterback. So support him. Let's see what he can do.
Exactly. Stop hating. Kevin, what's your thoughts on old Teddy?
Well, my thoughts on Teddy, really,
keep it 100, bro.
I remember when Teddy was becoming a free agent before the Saints got him. I thought he was someone that would be a great backup to Cam Newton. This preceded the in the post Derek Anderson era. As far as someone that could come in, I was thinking player with a mobile quarterback who can move in the pocket and who can buy time with his feet, which is which benefit the type of offense was running at the time. So he was someone that I had on my radar back in after the end of the 2017 season. I'm just, me, fellas, I'm really open-minded. I try to always look for the positives, but I try not to overemphasize them as well because we just never know how things work out. But, I've always been a silver lining type of guy. I'm willing to see, what Teddy Bridgewater can do. Obviously, I think he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. We're talking about a man that, if I'm not mistaken, Will, when you was talking about his injury, I think it was like at one point life-threatening. It was players that I heard that when they saw his injury, like they got like sick, like threw up. You know what I'm saying? It was that gruesome of an injury, and
it's real.
By God, something like that, to overcome that, to have a chance to play again, and I'm definitely rooting for the guy, and he has the opportunity. It's his hand. He could be stopgap, or he can be the answer altogether. It's up to him. You're getting paid to be the answer. I think the final numbers came out as 3 years, $63 million. So it's actually $21 million a year, which is still relatively cheap. That's probably not even the top 15 or 20 in the league. If you ask me, with all these, escalating salaries, that's going on. So I'm just really optimistic. And I think, once we get over the disappointment of what happened with Cam and start seeing how this team is being put together. And once we get through this post-coronavirus era where we can, the facilities can open up and the players can, get acclimated and see what's going on, it'll be interesting to see how it all folds together. Real quickly, just to give a quick brush down, I'm a numbers guy. Last year with Teddy Bridgewater, he had 1,384 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, only had 220 pass attempts. So he was someone that was very efficient. He didn't necessarily, wow you, but he also, made plays when they had to as well. Wasn't a big scrambler. He only had, 40 yards scrambling. They only called 16 design runs for him. But yeah, I just think that he's a player that can occupy it. And honestly, for the short term, it's up to him to determine, how long he remains the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. So I think it's kind of ironic. His 3-year contract is also, been estimated around the same amount of time we think offense coordinator Joe Brady will be here. So, it's widely assumed that once Joe Brady get a few years here at Carolina, he's going to be the next hot big thing. And I think with Teddy knowing his system, I think that, Teddy could be helping Brady, get his first coaching opportunity if he can really show out. So I think that was another reason why this deal makes sense. Just for the sake of familiarity and, not having to, struggle adjusting to a new playbook. But, yeah, fans, so I get it. We're hurting. We're all emotional about everything that went down today. It's fresh, so I'm not expecting everyone to be logical and rational at this point in time. I definitely was in my feelings as well. I ain't gonna lie. The eyes kind of watered up a little bit. I'm gonna be real, because. But hey, that's the NFL life. So we press forward, we keep pounding, and we move on.
Well said. We gotta keep moving on, folks. That's the bottom freaking line. Damn it. Jesus Christ. Give Teddy a chance, folks. By the way, we shore up this O-line. There's a gentleman by the name of CMC who acted a fool with a BS O-line. So imagine when we get that shit straight. I don't care who's a quarterback. If you focus it on CMC, your world is a wreck. Yeah, it's something going on. Because there's too many things you can do with that guy, man. Teddy's gonna be just fine. He's gonna be just fine. So I guess we'll just go ahead and touch on the elephant in the room, shall we? Cam Newton. Bill Belichick said Cam Newton made that man sweat at night, man. Like he had the shits. Like Cam Newton gave his man fits. The night before he had to go on that field and coach against that man. So I mean, Cam Newton, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, if you don't know, I don't know what the heck is going on with you. Cam Newton is now a free agent, basically. He's out there going to get his trade deal the way he wants it. And speaking for myself, and I guess the fellas too, actually, because we talked about this, we wish that man all the best, for real. He's more than earned his respect and his payday for what he's done for this organization and for the game of football and the NFL as a whole. The man's an icon. And we hate to see this man go. It's crazy we're doing this 50th episode and talking about Cam like this. But yeah. So, Will, if you'll start us off, man. What's going on with Cam and what do we know so far? And just speak your truth, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, at first, I'm not gonna do a career reflection yet like we did with Luke Kuechly. I just think it's not appropriate yet. I think Cam's got a lot of football ahead of him, his best football ahead of him. He does. I think he's going to go to another team and shine and, be the guy that he's capable of being. Mm-hmm. But with that said, I think it's more simple than Cam wanting to be here and Matt Rule wanting him here. I just think you have to look at the direction both sides are going and the best interest of both parties. I think from Cam Newton's perspective, it just didn't make sense to play out his contract with zero guaranteed money. on this last year of his contract. And I just think he wasn't going to step on the field without a contract extension. So that's and you can't blame him for that. His agent's got to look out for his client, and he's looking out for his best interests. And I just don't think it made sense for him to play out his contract with zero guaranteed money. It's just too much at stake, too much risk. From the Panthers' perspective, it didn't make sense to extend him. He hasn't been healthy since October 2018. They wanted him to prove that he can stay healthy for a 16-game season before they commit that much money to him. And just look at what the quarterbacks are being paid now. Average guys like Kirk Cousins and Ryan Tannehill are getting, $100 million contracts, generating $30 million a year and over $50, $60 million of guarantees. So it's just a huge commitment that would have been required from the organization to commit to Cam Newton over the long term. And it just doesn't make sense for a rebuilding team. And on top of that, you're going to have to pay Christian McCaffrey, the highest paid running back of all time, possibly. DJ Moore's got a contract coming due soon. You just paid Shaq Thompson. So, and then you still have to fill out the rest of your roster. So I just think, with the Panthers' cap situation and being in rebuild mode, Cam needing to prove himself now to earn a long-term security for his future, the two sides just, where do you find that median? How do you find that median to where a deal between both parties makes sense and they can move on with Cam Newton as their starting quarterback? So I just think the business of football ultimately caused his departure, and it's just something we see all the time. Joe Montana in a Chiefs jersey, Randall Cunningham in a Vikings jersey, Peyton Manning in a Broncos jersey, Brett Favre in a Jets and a Vikings jersey. It happens. So, I think, it's okay to be a Cam Newton fan. I wish him the best. I hope he goes to another team, balls out, gets the weapons he needs to succeed in this league. And I'm still going to ride with the Panthers like I've been doing, since 1995. So, I hate that his last game had to end, in that ugly Thursday night game in Tampa. And it kind of bothers me that the departure got kind of ugly. The Panthers tried to use PR to soften the blow and put out statements. And then, Cam saying that's not how it went. I wanted to be here and you guys forced me out. And then his teammates came to his defense. It's just part of, the new guard coming in and the old guard not liking the way they're being pushed out. But it's part of football, man. At the end of the day, he's had 9 years here, a great 9 years here, most, successful run in franchise history. But, we haven't won a playoff game since 2015. He hasn't been healthy the last 2 years. He's been up and down. He had his inconsistencies here and there. And I think it was time for both sides to start fresh, and have new beginnings. And that's the best way I could put it right now.
Yeah. Well said, bro. Wow. I can't believe this is going on. Kevin.
Well.
Right?
Wow. Man. Hey. I'm going to be honest. You guys know me, when my source hit me up and told me pretty much it's about to be a big bombshell drop today. In the pit of my stomach, I really got sick because I knew for him to say it like that, it could really only be one thing at this point in time. Once he shared with me and told me, and then I had to wait till the media put it out before we can start sharing it. It really was a shock as far as from a fan point of view. We're talking about, someone that, I started following Cam Newton when he was at the University of Florida back in 2008, with the laptop gate per se.
Oh, man.
Who's this guy behind Tim Tebow? Who's this guy? Wow, yeah, that's a big dude. You know what I'm saying? And went off to do his thing at Blinn Junior College National Championship. Came back to the SEC, Auburn. Undefeated Heisman Championship. Like I said, I'm not going to do a whole career rundown, but he's just someone that it's just been a joy to watch. He truly, did it his way and his style. And one thing I think that you'd be hard pressed to find someone with any of a more competitive nature than a Cam Newton. We're talking about someone that's with a tireless work ethic, loves to have fun, brings energy, trash talking, but throughout the community has probably one of the biggest heart of any athlete that's ever lived in the Charlotte metro area, with his giving back to the community. But overall, though, man, it's just been a hell of a ride watching Cam Newton. And Tim, you already know, we met up in 2015, the year of Dab, man. Man. That even though it didn't end the way we wanted, man, I in my lifetime, if we never experienced that again, that was the most fun as a football fan I ever had, because, like, what's a dab? I had to ask my daughter at the time. She's like, Dad, you don't know what a dab is? Like, nah, you just putting a dab of hot sauce on my chicken, no, that's the type of dab I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's a dab? Then she put daddy, she gave me the breakdown and everything. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah, I can get with that. Let's do that. And we took the world by storm with it. You know what I'm saying? We had 90-something-year-old Betty White getting a dab on. So hey, we had old folks in the nursing home dabbing. So that's just Cam Newton. He just had that type of energy, man, where you went to work, but you had fun at work. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that I just love as a fan, and I'm a miss. And I definitely wish him well. I want him to, and I expect him to play like a madman possessed.
Oh, he gonna show his ass.
Yeah. I'm like, Cam, tell me I can't do something and watch this. So basically telling the Panther front office, okay, you don't believe I was worth an extension? Well, check this out. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I know that before it broke, it was mentioned that two teams that had asked for Cam Newton's medical records were the Los Angeles Chargers and the New England Patriots. So I think I had asked Will early in the chat, what type of compensation could we possibly looking at here? Just to let y'all guys know, just to throw it out there for information. The Chargers got 7 draft picks. They're just pretty much 1 through 7. They got the 6 overall, number 37 in the second round. They're basically just drafting almost in the same position as we are, pretty much. So, and then I looked over at the Patriots. The Patriots got 12 draft picks. They got a first, they got 3 thirds, they got a fourth, they got 4 6-round picks, and 3 7-round picks. We're talking about, stacking up, picks here. Hey, Bill, talk to us. You know what I'm saying? Let's, let me holler at you. What you want from them Cam and 3 third-rounders? What's up?
What's good?
I don't know about y'all, but I take 3 third-rounders for Cam.
Hell yeah.
I got no problems with that, especially with this draft. With the talent and depth and with the holes, as many holes as we got. Because there's going to be a lot of day 1 talent pushed back into day 2. And then we sitting day 2 with shoot 3 or 4 third-round picks. Hey, we may not be going to Nordstrom's, but we're going to Target. But just overall though, I'm always going to treasure and remember, Cam for what he did both on and off the field. I wish him well. Definitely going to keep tabs on him and see how it all plays out and best of luck to him and thank him because he truly gave Panther Nation a ride like they never had before in their franchise history. And I'm very appreciative and thankful that I was able to enjoy that firsthand.
Man, this is one hell of a day, man. It's one hell of a day. God, this is crazy. I can't believe he's saying this right now. Well, Cam's out there, folks. Cam's out there. And yeah, I agree, Kevin. 2015 was ridiculous. The way we just running through teams, bro. It was, and there's so much energy. God, that energy was just, it was intoxicating, man. Cam running up and down the sideline, man, had the whole stadium just lit. The defense was shutting people down. J-No was doing his thing. Luke was doing his thing, man. It was, God almighty.
Yeah, I mean, me and you met up for that Redskins game, you know what I'm saying, with that 40 burger. And, no, that was the game where Cam made the defense jump outside 4 times in a row.
Bro, we won.
See, I was at that game, too.
You was at the game, too?
I didn't know y'all yet.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we
That's
was
crazy.
The one game I went to that year.
Man, that was crazy.
Yeah, I think that was a November game, if I'm not mistaken. But
it was. It was.
Yeah, but
I took the train down to we had an apartment, like right around Freedom Drive. Not Freedom. We were out in the out of the city at that time. So I took the train with my mom down to the game. On the way back, man, the train was just popping. We were undefeated. Fans were so excited. The city was on fire, man. I'll just never forget that season.
Never.
And then I think, he had, the first 6-7 games, it was just, normal pedestrian Cam doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
That second half of that season, man, did he take off. I think he had like 21 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah, bro. His rhythm was
had
crazy.
Games with like 300 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, you see what Lamar Jackson doing right now, man? I don't even think he putting up games like Cam was doing in 2015, the Saints game. He single-handedly went into the Superdome and, the defense couldn't stop Breeze that day. So he had to, win games 41-38.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants game, we're up 35-0, almost blow the lead. Man, he just putting up Madden numbers that year. It was just, man, I haven't seen anything. I think that season is the closest thing we'll get to like the LeBron James of football.
Yeah.
If he sustained it, I think, you can make that comparison. But that type of season, man, just to see a guy so dominant that, running the ball, throwing the ball, threading the needle, that pass to Ed Dixon, threading the needle like that.
Hey,
that
was one of the most. That throw was just so, bro. It's delicious. That's all I can say. That throw was delicious. I mean,
and
wow.
And my favorite play, Tim, even though it was the game we lost, that game in Atlanta when it was 3rd down, and we needed 8 yards, and Cam drug like 5 Falcon players 6 yards to get that first down.
Bruh. And he was taking hits, bruh.
Yeah, he was shaking them off like he refused.
Get off me.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we lost the game, but that play right there, I was like,
yeah, bro.
God damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man.
Bro. Cameron Newton, boy. Hey, CMC special. Don't get me wrong, folks. CMC is special. But there will never be another Cam Newton. Never be another Cam.
And the thing, the play on his field was matched by the fun and the energy he brought to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen teams in the NFL dominate, but how many had as much fun as we did? No, you know what I'm saying?
No,
teams start emulating now. Everybody want to do sideline photos. Yeah. Everybody want to get together in the end zone and take photos. Like, that's us.
That's us. 2015, we've been there.
You out there selling out Fan Fest, man.
Fan Fest.
Games, I've been going to Panther games. Shoot. I remember going to the game in 08, 09. Man, there wasn't no interest in the team, man. I've been sitting up in the upper deck by myself. It was the empty stadium watching Jimmy Clausen, Matt Moore. Jake Delhomme was about past his prime at that point.
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't no energy in the stadium. And then when Cam got here, man, it's like you couldn't even get a ticket to Fan Fest. They had to start charging money for the tickets.
Ain't that crazy? He changed the game, bro. He changed the game in Charlotte anyway, Well, you could probably say he changed the face of the NFL a little bit. if not a lot.
Oh, definitely, man. Because I don't think the Carolina Panthers weren't a national brand until Cam came on board. I mean, we had success. I'm not going to act like it was just some dormant franchise. I mean, we've been to a Super Bowl, which was impressive for a team that started in '95.
True.
We've been to a few NFC championships, but just that national attention, that national brand, playing on Thanksgiving, Showtime Monday Night Football against the Patriots, games like, man, it was like, we just getting so much, the world was focused on the Panthers for, it's kind of getting the kind of attention that we didn't usually get.
That's true.
When we talk about 2015, what about 2013? Monday night against the Patriots, he's running in circles on third down.
Juke the whole
up the first
defense
down and led the game-winning drive, hitting Ted Ginn. And then the pass to Dominique Hickson and the rain pouring down, rain monsoon against the New Orleans Saints to end our division drought in 2013.
That was huge.
That was huge.
I
know I said I wasn't going to reflect on his career at this point, but it's just, man.
But we could spend.
What a time, dog.
We could spend hours. I mean, he's done. I mean, we're not going to talk about his rushing prowess. I mean, dude, this guy was so special, man. Especially
he ran 60 yards against Atlanta.
Remember that shit, man? Yeah, Smitty. He had Smitty as a lead blocker. Doing a flip in the end zone.
72 yards. Let's get it correct.
Hey, give him in his 12 yards. But man, dude. I mean, what he did to Minnesota, and that big run at the end, and Minnesota was like running over people. What was it? 2016?
That was 2017.
2017? Man,
that's when he juked out the safety and for like 70 yards.
That safety came in the box. He said, "Hey." And he took off. And the stadium exploded. I mean, that place went bananas. And then
I was at that game too. My cousin, a Vikings fan.
Nice. Yeah, I was at that one too, man. That's nice. Oh,
hey,
man.
I'll never forget Cam's first win. I was there soaking wet. The game against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the monsoon, in 2011 when he got his first ever win.
Mud Bowl.
I was sick for like 4 days, but man, that was a game when he threw the game winner to the Greg Olsen, man, who was lined up in the backfield. I mean, it was just crazy, man. I mean, it's that, man. Damn, Cam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, rookie year was something because in the preseason, you're just looking at him like, why did we draft him overall? You sure you're going to be good?
Yeah, right.
He was just like awful in the preseason, winging it off his back foot.
I'm like, what
10
the fuck
yards
is over
a guy, like, is he ready to play this year?
Bruh.
Week one, 400 yards. Week 2, 400
yards.
Like, okay. I see what we got here.
This guy's real. All right. This guy's for real. We already knew he could run the football. I mean, hell. If you didn't know that, you not watching football. But man, he started when he got his rhythm, he was something. He was something. And you know what, folks? I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here because damn it, this pisses me off. Big Cat did not help Cam out that much, man. We could have put more weapons around this guy than we did, and we didn't. And that will always stick with me, man. We really could have helped him out, and we didn't. That bothers me. But 2015 happened, and there's nothing you can say about that.
To clarify that, let's keep it real. Before Cam touched the field, Herndon had a guap of money, and he just blew it that year. That really handcuffed us from really adding around Cam pretty much for Cam's first 6 years, to be honest. Like, we really didn't get out of cap hell until 2017. So think about it. From 2011 to 2017, all we was in the Dollar Tree line. We ain't had no choice.
Man.
So yeah, you can say we probably could have picked up this player here or there, but overall, Gettleman was right. You can't work in a vacuum. You know what I'm saying? Where the money coming from? So but I just hope Cam can go to a place where he's allowed to be set up to succeed and just really like you say, prove it to himself. He's
gonna play with a chip on his shoulder. I'd hate to go up against this guy next year. He talk. Yeah, we all see what Cam's like when he's pissed off. Don't piss that man off.
And you know what? I can see Cam because of his competitive nature. You know, everybody's saying Brady need to get out the AFC because of Mahomes and Jackson. I can see Cam being like, man, fuck that. I'll go. You know, that competitive nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see Cam like, yo, I was doing what y'all was doing way before y'all got here. Y'all was watching me in high school. Hold on. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Cam. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see him going to a AFC team like the Chargers or the Patriots and be like, you know, watch me now. I mean, you know, he's that ultimate competitor. Like, he doesn't shy away from challenges. So it wouldn't surprise me a bit to go into where everybody else saying it's a one-man or two-man show. I'm like, oh, really? All right, watch this.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I can't wait for that 30 for 30 episode 10 years down the road to get that inside access of what's been going on behind the scenes for the last 2 years, man. I mean, everybody's got their own version of what's been happening, what's been offered, this, and that. I think the only people that truly have answers, Marty Herney, David Tepper, and Cam Newton, maybe Ron Rivera, but, you know, and Bus Cook, obviously. You know, he wants to get his client paid, but, you know, man.
He wants to get paid too, shit.
Yeah, he's right, to get his commission. But, you know, man, I don't know. A part of me says, you know, why wasn't this handled better, you know? True. Do you have to have an ugly exit from your franchise quarterback like this? You know, I'm just trying to remember, how did Brett Favre leave the Packers? How did Peyton Manning leave the Colts? Was it, you know, more respectable than this? I know Manning did an exit press conference with the Colts, and they kind of mutually parted ways. Yeah. And I don't remember Favre and the Packers that well, but does it have to be this ugly? It's just, you know, just a lot of question marks, even though how this ended, you know? Yeah. Just have to think about that.
And Peyton Manning.
Yeah, well, for the record, I'm sorry, Tim, for the record, the Favre, I remember that because, you know, for the last 3 years, he was in the door, out the door about coming back and finding that's like, look, we done drafted this guy named Aaron Rodgers. He's been sitting on the bench the last 3 years. You know, his rookie contract almost up, and we haven't even seen him on the field. So, you know, I know you want to come back for that one last try, but you got to get that somewhere else. So with Favre brought that more on his own than the organization because, you know, he, you know, I think that's where, you know, Thomas Davis got his case of, I'm going to retire. No, one more year. All right, I'm going to retire. No, one more year. Yeah. You know, I think he got that from Favre because that's pretty much what Favre did his last 3 years, which led to them drafting Aaron Rodgers in the first place because he told him he was about to hang it up. So you spent a first-round pick on a quarterback. You got to see what you have, and good thing that they did.
Yeah. Aaron panned out quite well, actually. Man, this is crazy. Good luck, Cam. Good luck. You know, and before we get out of here, I'd like to wish good luck to one Thomas Brady, because you're going to be playing for the Buccaneers. Bless your heart. You're going to talk about going to a franchise that is completely opposite of one another. How would it feel like going from winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl and a organized, you know, highly touted franchise like the Patriots and moving down to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, that's got to be wow. That is a change, man. That's like going from damn steak and ale to McDonald's, bro. I mean, that's just Jesus. Oh my God. Oh man, I don't know what that's like. I can't imagine that shit. Thomas, bless your heart. But you're going to have to run up against this Panther defense without that OC and Belichick defense you used to play with all the time. So what's that going to be like for you, buddy? What you think, Cam?
Well, I think his bank account going to like it because, you know, Florida doesn't have an income tax. So, you know, he's been taking those, you know what I'm saying, those team-friendly deals all his career. And if what I'm hearing is being accurate, it looks like he's going to be getting around $30 million because the Bucs had over $80-something million heading into this all season. So his money about to be long, you know, here. ironically, he's going to have more weapons, young weapons that are in their prime to work with here. He got a coach that is not on the Belichick level, but a highly regarded coach that also has something to prove as well. I even though it's in our division, I thought this would be the best move for Brady to move on. Now, Bucks ain't got the best offensive lines. See how they address that, but they let go Mr. 30 for 30. We was talking about that Winston. They done likely sent him off. He had his own 30 for 30 specialist damn self last year. I think that was it. More money and more weapons. I mean, if you ever want to try to prove yourself, and you got to think about it, you're coming in a division where you possibly could win it and to get into the playoffs as well. Because let's be honest, we're rebuilding. Atlanta's Atlanta. They in cap hell. New Orleans is New Orleans, but we done shown that if you don't beat yourself, you can take them right now to the wire and get them as well. So I see if Brady's thinking about one more strong playoff push, this obviously made the most sense for him.
Will, what you think about this Brady move?
Yeah, I saw somebody on ESPN made a good point. Playing for Bill Belichick is hard. And it's just amazing how Brady lasted with Bill for all these years, man.
Good point.
I think Bill's not going to pay him top dollar. I just doesn't believe in that.
Right.
No matter how big you are, he treats you all the same. He wants to, Brady was forced to take pay cuts so that they could address other positions. And after a while, I just think Tom got tired of that. He wants to go somewhere he's appreciated, where a team's going to prioritize him, add weapons, and build around him. I think I read where Tampa Bay might make a trade for Todd Gurley, add more speed receivers like Brandon Cooks, and really cater to Brady and make this all about him.
Wow.
So, Bruce Arians being an offensive-minded guy, he revived Carson Palmer's career, had him as runner-up MVP in 2015.
Yep.
So I think he just thinks he can do that same type of project with Tom Brady. I think the Super Bowl's in Tampa next year. So that's another thing that Brady might have thought of, go to win the Super Bowl for the hometown team. They have a ton of cap space to build around them. They can address their secondary. They got a pretty solid run defense. I really like their D-line with Vita Vea. He gave us hell last year.
God,
so, I think it was a good situation for him altogether. Let's go to a place where he can spend the last 2 years of his career in warm weather, be appreciated, try to finish his career on top. So we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of excited to have Brady in the division. I just wish we were in more of a position to, contend for the South than we are right now.
Yeah, man.
And, as much as I like Teddy, imagine a division with Cam, Brady, Ryan, and Breeze as the 4 quarterbacks. That would have been crazy, but, we'll see. See how it plays out. That's why they play the games.
That's why they play it. Hello? You play to win the game. Peace out to Herm Edwards. I hate to say it, folks, but I believe we've come to the end of the road of this podcast. Number 50. That's right. Number 50. That means we got 50 more to do. No. But seriously, guys, appreciate you guys checking out the 4-Man Rush podcast. I know a lot of you guys that are listening to us have been with us from the beginning. And on behalf of Kevin and Will, myself, Larry, and everybody from the 4-Man Rush podcast crew and the 4-Man Rush crew all together, thank you, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, man. Appreciate y'all, for real. You guys have been really active, especially on the Facebook chat. Hey, y'all keeping Kevin on his toes, man. Y'all bringing it. I love it. Good communication. Man. Twitter too, man. Great communication. Instagram, great communication. So really appreciate you guys. Really, seriously, you guys drive us forward with this venture, and we loving it. Even though Cam's not here anymore, damn it, we are. and we're not going anywhere. Tepper don't pay our bills. It'd be nice if he did, but that motherfucker don't pay our bills. Not
if
yet.
he did, we'd be doing this podcast inside of Bank of America Stadium. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that would be nice.
Hey, look, he flies all there every damn Tuesday.
He probably would. I'll drive. Personally, I'll drive. I ain't flying. I ain't flying with that virus floating around. Hell no. Have a damn can of Lysol under my seat. You look at me wrong, I'm spraying this. What you looking at?
You can't say nobody God bless you when they sneeze now. Now it's like, you don't get away with that bullshit.
Ain't no blessing. You better get that thing away from me. Corona. Get the hell out of here. Take your ass south of the border, Corona. All right. So, hey, thank you guys for checking out the 4-Man Rush podcast. Whether you're listening to this podcast in the morning, afternoon, or in the evening, thank you so much. We hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Don't put your head in the sand, damn it. It's still Panther Nation. Regardless of who's putting that jersey on, it's Panther Nation, people. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about that logo and the fan base, period. And that's why we're here, the 4-Man Rush. Hey, you guys take care of yourself. Feed your children. Put some water in your dog's bowl. And as always, keep pounding. Claire?
Right.
Oh, man. Yo, this was fun. Hey,
Yeah,
since
bro.
people are quarantined and stuff, man, they ought to be able to catch up on all our episodes. You know what
You ain't
I'm
lying.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah,
Shoot.
binge it. Binge the hell out of it.
saying? I was just reading.
Yeah, man.
I was just reading. They talking about in California, kids might not be going back to school till the fall. Oh my God.
Oh my
Dang.
God.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they
Like that.
they're talking about that now. One of my fitness clients, she's on the school board for this county, and she said they have an emergency meeting tonight about them not coming back to school till next year.
Oh man.
Real talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they got the city of San Francisco locked down for 3 weeks, which is why my flight got canceled to go see my daughter, man.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Like San Fran is just clank right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
It's nuts over there, bro. West Coast as a whole is nuts,
I'm just taking time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. Yeah. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners, and we can go back to my crib and just chill under covers and do we call me and you lovers.
The 4-Man Rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The 4-Man Rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the 4-Man Rush exclusively. Thank you.